Hi, I'm Beetle, and today I will be showing you how to set up your horse base to texture in the Substance Painter, just to make it a little easy. There is a substance file that has all of these parts in it here, but if you want to keep it a little less cluttered and only put the parts that you're interested in texturing, I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is your substance file. It's called BGB horse SPP underscore setup. And this is where you're going to set up your substance painter file. Now you have to use this file if you want to use any of the textures that I've used in the substance painter files. Everything has to be in the same place. So you don't want to move anything left or right. You don't want to scoot anything around. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is know what parts you want to put on your base. Now, if you're not sure how everything looks, you can open up your the regular Blender file BGB horse, which has all the parts properly attached. And so here it has everything placed properly, so you'll know how things will look. And if you make any changes, this is what you would be exporting from, not the substance file. Another reason for that is that the substance file was made before I finished making some minor adjustments to this file. And so if you export from the substance file, it's not going to match up. And so it's going to look bad. No. And so it's not going to match up, and it won't work right in Unity. So you want to export from this file. So first, let's pick out what you want to texture. So I have everything sorted here, stuff that attaches to the head, stuff that attaches to the hip, so that would be tails, and then anything miscellaneous is in the accessory section. And so this is your body. Now, nothing here you should want to remove unless you don't want a certain article of clothing, but I'm just going to hide the clothes for now. And then here is the bridle, but in the Substance Painter file, you'll see that the bridle is separate. So if you just want to hide it at the bottom of your shape keys here, when selecting the body, you can hide the bridle. And then I'm just pressing H to hide stuff. So I'm just hiding the armature. So let's pick what we want on our model. So we're going to start with the accessories. Now you're going to hold shift when you want to hide anything with an armature, and it'll hide the bones as well. Because if you don't hold shift, it'll just hide the bones. So for who we're going to be making, we can hide the reins. That'll be already in the substance file. Let's keep the unicorn horn and the leg fluff, and we'll keep the arm fluff as well. So this is what we're going to be keeping for our model. Then we can go to hips and we can pick a tail. I'm going to pick the cropped tail. So I'm holding shift and just hiding everything else. And this is just so I can see how it looks before I use it Substance Painter. It's like you're planning what you're going to do. And then I'm going to hide everything except for the giraffe ears. And then for the hair, we're going to do the right braided hair. Okay. So this is the model that I'm going to be trying to export a version of for Substance Painter. So all you're doing here is just planning what it's going to look like, making sure this is what you want to texture. And then once you're ready and you know what parts you want to keep, oh, I hit the tail. So this is what we're going to be making. So now you don't have to save this unless you want to keep it as a separate window, but I'm just going to reopen up the substance file. And so everything here, like I said, you don't change anything. As you can see, the bridle options are here. You're going to want to color these the same because actually in the Unity file, I've actually merged them. So now instead of 2 of the head meshes, it's just 1, and then the reins are separate. And so we're going to click the body. You don't have to click the armatures. You're going to click the body and then hold shift and select every mesh that you want to texture. So we kept the horn. Let's keep the flower. Grab the giraffe ears. And you're always going to want to grab the clothes and the bridles. And then we're going to pick which hair we wanted. So we're going to do the right braided hair and the cropped tail. Once we have everything selected that we want to texture, we're going to go to File, Export, FBX. You only need the mesh. Okay, I'm just going to put it on my desktop. And I'm just going to call it Substance Test SPP FBX. And then you're going to make sure that you have selected here, selected objects. Otherwise, it's going to export everything. So then you can export your FBX. And then once that's done, you can close out a substance file unless there's anything you want to change later. Then we're going to open up Substance Painter. And you're going to want to open up whichever substance file that you want to edit. So if there's a certain texture, for example, in the party donkey that you want to keep, but you want to add to a different model, you're going to want to open that. So I'll open that up. So any of these you can change the configuration to and there won't be an issue. It'll just swap out parts. So as you can see here, I'm just letting it all load. We have our party donkey. So all you're going to want to do, also, you're going to want to ignore this collar. I've removed it from the base, but it's in the substance files. It just wasn't looking right, so I removed it. But yeah. So as you can see, everything is in their proper place from the substance file, but a bunch of stuff is hidden. So you're going to go to Edit, Project Configuration. You're going to go here where it says Select, and you're going to pick your FBX that you made. Change nothing here, and just click OK. And then you have to give it a second. And it's going to import in all the parts that you were going to use. Just give it a second. All the textures should be added. And so now you can texture all the parts you need. The symmetry will still work. That's why everything is in a straight line, so that the symmetry works. You can switch to orthographic view if you want to see that it's actually symmetrical. And then you can just get right started on texturing. However you please. I have some masks set up here if you needed to change anything, but these masks are already in your Unity file and they're already exported, but they're there in case you want to change anything. And then if anything that you're texturing is in the way, everything is sorted so the body can sit by itself. The blush is up here. Then in extra stuff, there's the bridles, and so each of these is sorted by material. There's 5 materials. And that's just because there's so many parts I needed to separate into a bunch of materials. And then you can texture everything as you need. And for what I recommend for texturing, I'm not going to give a full tutorial on Substance. There's plenty of tutorials out there, but I add a fill layer. Okay, I'm going to remove it from the masks folder. Go to Properties. You can pick your color. Let's do bright red. Then you're going to click here, add black mask, and then you can texture as you please. Let's make sure that is set to 1. Oh, we're on the body. And then you can texture as you please. If you want to make sure your symmetry on is, you're going to click this button here. And you can texture this way. And so that's if you don't want to do a paint layer, because here you can adjust the colors and it'll stay in place. And yeah, so you can erase everything. I'm hitting 2 on the keyboard and 1 on the keyboard to change my modes. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5. So if I hit 4 here, you'll see that all the polys are showing. So this is how you can quote unquote bucket fill. I'm going to clear this mask here, and that just erases everything. And there's different ways of coloring things by the UV chunks. So if you hit F3 here, you can see your texture sheet, and you can see that everything is, you can fill stuff in by the UV on here. But we're going to hit F2 and that shows just this. You can have F1 as well that shows both, but for more space I hit F2 on my keyboard. And you can fill in stuff based on where the seams are, which makes things a lot easier. And so you can color stuff this way. And you can also, of course, turn off the symmetry if you want it looking a little different on either side. And so you can fill it in that way. You can also fill in by doing individual polys, but it will more often than not go to the other side, especially if you drag a box, it will come out the other side. So if you wanted to drag a box over, I would hit F3 and do it here, because then it won't show up on the other side of the model. And everything that you fill here, of course, you can then edit as you please. You can change the brush hardness over here. So if you want a hard brush, all that jazz, you can change what your brush looks like here. So that's just a basic rundown of Substance Painter for you. But yeah, so you're gonna color everything that you want. Everything that's new and doesn't have a texture on it that you've added will be here in the checkered area. So you have to fill in your colors there. Also, if you want to change anything that's already here, because everything is masked, you can... No way. I'm really hoping that the people landscaping outside is not coming through this freaking microphone. Oh, okay. It's fine. Anyways, if you wanted to change anything that's already on the model here, all you have to do, because it's masked out, is you have to click on the part where the color is, then you go to properties and you can change your base color here. And so that makes things a lot easier if you want to just change colors. I also kept all the other markings, so if you want to add different types of markings on top additionally, you can, like so. Same with there's different top surgery scars. I just have that one picked, but you can, of course, pick different ones, and you can color pick from anywhere. Yeah. Oh, if you want to get rid of the logo, it's all on a separate layer here. Just have to wait for it to show up, and you can hide the logos. There's a logo on the back of the shorts. And then just make sure also in Unity to remove the emissions for the logo, because I have it masked out for it to glow and look nice. You can duplicate the flower as many times you want in Blender. It'll just keep the same color. If you want your flowers to be different colors, you're going to have to edit the UV map. And so then after this, you're going to want to fill in, like I said, everything that you haven't colored in yet. So we're just going to pick a color there. Also, anything that's in a folder with a mask on it means that you can fill a color here and it won't affect everything. It will only affect what is masked. So the bridle with the reins is the only thing affected here. But if you want to color everything like so, you'll want to put it here. But if you only want certain stuff, you're going to add black mask. I'm going to hit 4 on my keyboard. You can also fill by a mesh rather than just a UV. So you can then color in how you please. You can, of course, also do it just by the UV, but if you don't want to, that is okay. And so you just color everything in. I'm just going to select a bunch of random fellas here. And I have the symmetry on. And then, last but not least, I'll add orangey yellow. Actually, I'm going to put it under everything so that I can just fill it in by dragging a box over. And so all of our parts here are colored in. Let's also, for fun, just kind of color half of the unicorn horn. Wherever you select to rotate your camera, that's the axis it'll rotate on. So if you want it to rotate around the horn, you click the horn and then you're holding the Alt key to rotate. And if you want it to rotate around that hair puff here, the arm fluff, or that leg fluff, it's just where you click. And then I'm holding Alt and Control to pan, and then my scrolly wheel on my mouse to zoom. And I think that's it, really. And then all you're going to want to do after this is you're going to export your textures, pick a location for it to go. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Everything should have only the base color selected. It should have the little asterisk there. If it doesn't, just click and drag to hide everything else. Global settings, I have it exported as 4096, but if you want it to be a lower resolution, you can change it here. And then all you're going to do is hit export. And then you've exported everything that you wanted. And then you move on to Unity, which will be a different YouTube video. And that's going to be how to set up the model. But this is basically just how you want to set up your Substance Painter file. And of course, if you just want to look at everything and you don't want to go through the process of exporting in all that jazz, you can just go to the BGB horse_blank SPP. and it will have everything. It's just going to take a second to load because it's got a lot of parts. There we go. And like I said, ignore the collar. And so you can, of course, edit everything here. Here it will also have all the ear markings masked out. But it's actually a UV seam. So if you did want to fill it in on your own a different way, then you can literally set a black mask. We'll just pick a dark red again. And then when you hit 4, you're going to want to click this checkerboarded sheet, which is to fill by the UV chunks. And you can click on just here, or you can click on just here, and it will fill in and leave that part empty. Another thing, I'm sure it'll keep it that way, but just to check, you're going to want to make sure for each of your materials, you go to texture set settings and make sure to set it to UV space neighbor, not 3D space neighbor. And that keeps the lines between UVs super crisp rather than kind of blurry and ugly. Yeah, that's everything. I'm very excited to see what you texture. Make sure to watch my video on how to set it up in Unity because that is a bit more, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's definitely different than the average way that someone would set up a model. And that's just to make sure that all the animations work and all the contact receivers and senders are in the right places and all that jazz. So make sure to watch that video. I'll link it below if you're watching this through YouTube. I'll also have it linked in the Gumroad page if you're watching this video through my Gumroad as well. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to watch that Unity tutorial. If you already watched the Unity tutorial, then you're good to go. And of course, if you have any questions or you've done something and you've messed up the file somehow, I'm happy to help you. Just join my Discord, which I'll also have linked, and I can talk to you there. If you don't have a Discord, message me on Twitter, but try Discord first if you can, because it's easier to keep everything there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for buying my base. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Make sure to tag me with your edits on Twitter at BubblegumBark, because I like to see it. Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.